Om Vagartha Vivasam Praktau Vagartha Pratipadhaye Jagataha Pitaro Vande Parvati Parameshwarao Indirattane Yane Muhattane Indin Ilambirai Polum Yaitrane Nandi Mahandane Yana Kolundine Undil Vaitadi Potrihindrane Nidaye Sarva Vidyanam Vishije Bavaroginam Rave Sarvalhokanam Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Om Nama Pranavartaya Shuddhanyanaika Murtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyamavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha ஒன்றவந்தானே இரண்டவனின் அருள் நின்றனன் மூன்றினுள் நான்கு உணர்ந்தனன் ஐந்து வென்றனன் ஆறு விரிந்தனன் எழும்பாற் சென்றனன் தான் இருந்தான் உணர்ந்து எட்டே ஸ்ருதி புராணானாம் ஆலயம் கருணாலயம் நமாமி பகவத்பாத சங்கரம் லோகசங்கரம் சங்கரம் சங்கராச்சாரியம் கேசவம் பாதராயணம் சூத்திரபாஷ்யகிருதோ வந்தே பகவந்தோ புனః புனः யத்வாரே நிகிலாநிலிம்ப பரிஷத் Siddhim vidatte nisham Srimad Srilasitam Jagadgurupadam Natvatma Triptingata Loka Ajnana Payoda Patanaduram Shri Shankaram Sharmadam Shankara Bhagavat Pada Acharya Guruvaram Yayami Jyotirmayam Atimadura Chapahastam Aparimitha Moda Saubhagyam Arunam Atishaya Karunam Abhinavakula Sundarim Vande Kvanatkanchidhama Harikalabakumbhastananata Parikshina Madhye Parinata Sharachandravadanam Dhanurbhanan Pasham Srinimapi Dadana Karatalaihi Purastadastam Naha Puramaditur Aho Purushika Puramatituhu Aho Purushika. Manifest yourself in front of us. What a prayer, huh? You know, we are hardly in verse number 7, but even 10% of the verses. Okay, 7% of the verses. And Acharya brings us, or brings her right in front of us. And this is where it all starts. That's why this morning, when I sent a reminder, I titled as The Grand Entry. Amazing. You see, even though he has given us all the mechanics of the creation, just to give you the continuity, how with Parameshwara, creation comes about and how it's all managed between three of them, how she graces us with all that. Now, right away, having brought all of us into this world, having created us, and having created a department to maintain us, and having created a department to help us, having created a department to resolve and bring us back again, work out the karma. Now, right away, in verse number 7, without wasting any time, Acharya wants to bring us all back to the source. And this is where it all starts. Manifestation in the Manipura Chakra. Panatkanchidhama. Dhamma is rope. Kanchidhama, strands of gold. Kvanat, ding, 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 ding. That is Konat. Konat Kanchidam. Ding, ding, ding. So Divine Mother, you will hear her when she manifests in Manipura. That's experience of all the yogis. That's why Konat Kanchidama. Like Damodara, Udara, when Yashoda tied Krishna into that pounding stone, what we call Ural. And that's why we call Damo Udara, because his stomach got tied up with a rope, with a string to the stone, as if he can't move it. He moves the entire universe. She tied him up to a little stone. Konat Kanchidama. Konat Kanchidama. A jingle bell, a girdle, a string around her waist. Karikalabha Umba. Karikalabha. You see that picture? Pictures, one picture is worth thousands of words. So that's analogy Acharya chooses to describe mother's bosoms. How prominent and how impressive and how beautiful to look at her whole form, Karikalabha. And there is also some mystical meanings hidden why he chose Karikalabha. You'll see all that. Stananata, bent slightly under the weight of the bosoms, Karikalabha. And what kind of bosoms? Karikalabha Kumbha. On the forehead, you have these two bulging on the head of young elephant. That's what it is. And Parikshina Madhye. Madhye Parikshina. In the middle is nothing. Slender waist. Parikshina means something that is already almost disappeared. Parikshina. And then one is almost disappeared and the next one is fully developed. What? Parinata, fully developed face. That's like a fully developed moon. Sarachandra Vadana. So this is how he describes her. This is how the Samaya devotees meditate upon her on the Manipura Chakra. And then the prayer comes later, Sarachandra Vadana. And then also is described what kind of weapons she has. Dhanurbhanan, Dhanuhu, Manokshurupa Kodanda, Manayikshurupa Kodanda. The Kodanda is your bow. Ikshu. Manorupekshu Kodanda, Panchathanmatra Sayaka. Rita says Ram. So that bow, Manorupekshu, we will talk about it later. But so these are the weapons, physical form of the weapons, that bow, Dhanur, Banan. Banan means plural, not one arrow, but 5. And then the other 2 are Pasham and Srini is Ankusham. Okay. And Ankusham, most of you know, it's the sharp end, which most of these mahouts, the mint and the elephants, they have that in their hand. They sometimes they stick the elephant with it, which is not good. We don't like that, but that's Ankusham. And the beauty, the elephant is such a wonderful and divine creature that he will, or she, that elephant, she or he elephant will pick up that Ankusham and give it to the Mahut, even though that elephant knows he is going to hurt her with it. Animals have better behavior and humans, tolerance. So that's the kind of surrender we should have to the divine. Okay, divine hears Ankusha, hold it and stick me whenever I go astray. That's what we should do. So that's Ankusha. Dadana Karatalai. Dadana means she is holding it. Such a Devi whose face is like the autumn full moon, and whose face is like glowing like the full moon. And for waist, almost nothing. She doesn't have waist. And then her bosoms are as impressive as the forefront of an elephant head. Such a Devi come in front of us with the jingling bells around her waist. Kanat Kanchidam. Puramatitu Aho Purushika. One who is the inner consciousness, Aho Purushika. Purushaha is the fundamental reality that's permeated everyone and everything. Purushaha. So Purushika is the one that gives life to it. So that's Purushika. Puramatitu, Ishvara, Paratpara, Parameshvara, who is that silent Purusha. So the one who gives life to it is Purushika. So from that moment, that Purushika, that she merged in Shiva from the verse number 1, Ipthaya, Yatirbhavati, from the time she merged, Purusha and Purushika, inseparable, absolutely inseparable. So how Purushika, Puramatitu Purushika, one who is the inner conscience of Puramatitu. Again, Mantanam, Acharya uses that word Mantanam many times here. We have seen that word Mantanam, also in Manmata. In also a couple of other places it comes. So Puramatitu, who churned the Tripuras. There are also some mystical meanings of what else was being churned. But as of now, we will just go with the superficial meanings. So that's pretty much what that verse means. So we'll take each one of these descriptions and go into little detail. So to summarize the meaning, May thou, O Paratpara Parameshwari, O Purushika, with breasts and bosoms like the temples of an young elephant, and with a slender waist adorned by a jingling girdle string, Kanit Kanchidama, and with a face blooming like the autumnal full moon, Harinata Sarachandravadana, with 4 hands holding bow, arrows, Dhanurbhanan, arrows, Pasham and Kusham, Nush and the goad. May thou, Aho Purushika, the pride of Shiva, manifest. And just not only manifest, Astam, manifest and stay. You'd settle before us. What a prayer, huh? And the rest of the world was not even knowing what prayer was. And this was a prayer. Not for food, not for water, not for getting your grandchildren or your children married, not for getting a visa to America. The prayer. Highest prayer. Culture par excellence, a tradition par excellence. Thank God we're slowly reviving it through people like Shaliniji and others. Thing is, there's so much in this. It's just not the prayer. It's a faith that there is someone like Divine Mother who was the cause of all creation. And there is a faith that she is a goal to be sought after above all these material things, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And there is a faith that if you seek her, and she would appear. And she did appear many times, not one time, time and again, time and again, time and again. Recent instances being Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and then before him we have many, many, many. Bhaskara Bhattacharya in the south, also we have Abhirama Bhattar, who manifested Abhirami. All the many, not one. So that's the prayer. Now, why Acharya describes her in such a physical form, in such a beautiful form? Because even though Maya Shakti, Paratpara, Parameshwara, Parashakti, abstract, we need a form. We cannot meditate upon nothing. So we need a form to meditate. And this is the form that is given to us by Acharya. Now, in her form, there is also the Sthula form, Sukshma form, and Sukshma Tama form, and Sukshma Tara. So these are all the different levels of her manifesting in us. So Saundarya Lahari starts right here with a Sthula form. And on our next slide, we will see how the Sukshma and the Adishukshma and the Sukshma Tara and Sukshma Ati Sukshma, Sukshma Tama, Ati Sukshma, Sukshma Tara, Sukshma Ati Sukshma forms are described in Lalita Sahasranam also. And it's not a question of language. Whatever language you adore Devi, the truth is the same. So exactly the same way that Acharya describes her in Saundarya Lahari, Abhirama Bhattar described her same way. Sinnanjiriya Maringinil Satya Sayyapattum Pennam Beriyamulayum Karikalaba Kumbhastananata. That's exactly what it means. Pennam Beriyamulayum Muttaramum Kanatkanchidhama Pichi Moithu Kannangariya Kulalum Kanmoondrum Karuthil Vaithu Tannandani Irupparkku Idu Polum Oru Tavamillaye. There's no austerity, there's no tapas greater than meditating upon the Divine Mother with a form like this that is described here. Okay, manifestation Manipura Chakra and Australian Anahat Chakra are described in this verse. Panatkanchidama. From there, after manifesting her in the Manipura Chakra and bringing her up to the heart chakra and stabilizing her there, and then she is taken to the Sahasrara through the Vishuddhi and Ajna. So from Manipura is taken to Anahata, the heart chakra, which is in this verse, these two. And then through Vishuddhi and Ajna, she is taken to the Sahasrara to merge with her consort Paratpara Parameshwara. Acharya describes those in the following verses. He right away in verse number 9 also you would see all the chakras and their tattvas, how the Mooladhara is the Bhumi tattva, and all the 5 tattvas related to which chakras, those details come in verse number 9 itself. So within 10% of the verses, if you give an analogy of the American football, which is played with a hand, they, I don't know what they call it, when they take the ball to that thing. So within the first 10 seconds, they got the goal. So this is in first 10 verses. Yeah, touchdown. Touchdown. So Acharya gives us a touchdown within the first 10 verses. So this is a little picture of a traditional Kundalini chakras. But then in the Shakta tradition, there is one more chakra below the Mooladhara chakra. It's called Kula Sahasrara. So between the Kula Sahasrara and then the Akula Sahasrara, which is the top end, which is the goal, you have the 6 chakras, which are Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddhi, Ajna. So these are in between the Kulasahasrara and Akulasahasrara. And then these are all connected by Merudanda, which is your spinal cord, roughly, means spinal column. And then these are not the physical ones, these are subtle nadis. Ida, Pingala, Sushumna, Chitrani. Talking about these nadis, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Abhinava Vidyatirtha Swami of Sringeri Mutt, the one before Bharati Tirtha. He has written a book, something like a biography or what. He gave the details, somebody wrote the book, so it's like his biography, or you might even call it autobiography. It's called Yoga, Perfection and Enlightenment. So that's the name of the book. So please read it. It's available for free in the website of Sringeri Matam. I'll also, if you want, I'll probably put a PDF copy in the group later. By the way, there were 2 mutts in India. Acharya established 4 for administrative purposes: the north, south, east, and the west. North is Jyotirmutt, south is Sringeri, west Dwaraka, and east Puri. And he put all his 4 disciples there. Each one has its own Vedas, one deity, and one Mahavakyas. And you won't believe, this is in 8th century itself. He gave an SOP, standard operating procedure, that companies follow now. A standard operating procedures, enlisting instructions, how to run these mutts, how to run this company. Among many instructions, one of it is that the person who would lead these mutts, all these 4 mutts, would be a God-realized person, will be a saintly person who, with the realization of the ultimate truth. And there were only 2 mutts that strictly followed it. One is Jyotirmutt, another is Sringeri. Sringeri followed it proactively or actively, in the sense every one of them who's adorned that mutt so far till now, till up to Bharati Tirtha Swami, and now we have Vijayanadaji Bharati coming. Each one of them, from what they had described or for described by others, has been a saint par excellence with the realization of God. Each one of them, you name them, you read a little bit of information about each one of them, that's what you would get. Each one of them had peak of realization. So the other mutt that followed this was Jyotirmutt. The way that Jyotirmutt followed it, that from about 1840, somewhere around, or 1830s, they could not get a person qualified with all these conditions that Acharya had in his SOP. So they said, if we can't find one, we will not have any. So that mutt, Jyotirmutt, was without Shankaracharya for almost 100 years, till up to almost we got independent. After independence and after Rajendra Prasad became the president of the First Republic, and all these religious heads went to him and begged and prayed that please find someone or bring someone for the mutt. He says, go and find someone, because that's why this mutt is not adorned. Then they all went, including the Raja from Nepal. They all went to fulfill this gap. And then finally they found this great saint, Swami Brahmananda Saraswati, in the forest, who left home as a 9-year-old boy from Allahabad, looking for a saint or a guru with two conditions, that you should not get angry and you should not beg or ask for anything from anybody. Very difficult to find. Don't compare them with the modern day gurus, okay? So if you put these two conditions, the modern day gurus, there won't be any modern guru. Don't get angry and don't take anything from anybody. Wow. And finally, he found, after many trials, as Guru was also from South India, Swami Krishnananda Saraswati. So he was under him for many years. And then after his Guru attained Brahma Samadhi, he was in Uttarkashi and wandered around in the forests of Madhya Pradesh. And it is said, the reason I know all these details, because this is my Guru's Guru. I was trained under Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. I was with him for 10 years. I ran the administration for him in India. So then I left because politics. So I left. I came back to my physics. So they found Gurudev in the forest of Madhya Pradesh. And Maharshi used to describe him like this. When Gurudev moved, people around him moved like iron fillings on a magnet. He just swayed everything. And wherever he was, even others have described, wherever he was, even in the forest of Madhya Pradesh, Tat Sannidho Bhair Tyagaha, wherever he was, negativity just disappeared. Even the wild animals, the violent animals would be very peaceful. That's how his presence was. Amazing saint. So they found him and he adorned for a while, 6 months, and he ran away. And it means he didn't want all this. But then they went and brought him back again. Then he was there for about 1951. So these two mutts have followed this very actively. And one, by having a saint who is 100% enlightened. Another, by not having one if he's not enlightened. And finding one that was enlightened. Now coming back to Abhinava Vidyatirtha Swami, in that book that I mentioned, Yoga, Perfection and Enlightenment. And by the way, the Shankaracharyas have a routine that they will do the pujas, and also they will devote a time in Sringeri to go up the hills and meditate all alone for an hour. So all those details you'll find in that book, Yoga, Perfection and Enlightenment. During one such meditation, Parameshwara himself, Raja Yogi, the king of yogis, Lord Shiva, is not Adi Yogi, okay? Don't change the names of gods. It's such a blasphemy. Lord Shiva, Parameshwara. And people are going to forget his real name. It's not Adi Yogi. He is a king of yogis. Parameshwara himself had manifested in person in front of Acharya to teach him some of the complicated pranayamas. Acharya describes that. Abhinava Vidyatirtha Swamigal describes in that book how Lord Shiva himself came to teach him some of the intricacies of the higher pranayamas. And in that, the Acharya also tells us how each one of these nadis that we were just talking about, the Kundalini nadis, Ida, Pingala, Sushumna, Chitrani, manifested and spoke to him. He says that in that meditation, like a luminescent laser lights, they ran the same way that is described in Shat Chakra Nirupana. They ran like he would see these. He would experience this, not see it. He just experienced this laser beam, like different colors, and they speak to him. Aham Chitrani Nadi, Aham Vajrani Nadi, Aham Ida Pingala. So in a feminine voice. The reason I mentioned this because what we are studying now, reading now, is not grandma stories. It's validated time and again by experience. And besides Aksharya, there's also a few other yogis who have written experience about Kundalini. One is Gopi Krishna, and the other is Swami Muktananda. In his Chit Shakti Vilas, beautiful explanations and experiences of Kundalini. So time and again, not only Shankaracharyas, other yogis, other devotees of Shiva, of Shakti, who devoted the time. You need to devote the time. Devote the time. Even to become a itty-bitty doctor, you need to spend 10 years. 5 years in college and residency, fellowship takes 10 years. Forget about what you have to do before that. So to become a realized soul, how many years you have to spend? So without spending the time, don't refute anything. If you have to refute something, spend your time to study what it is. So it's not one person, two person. It's all that we are studying, either in Saundarya Lahari or in Lalita Sahasranamam or Shatchakra Nirupana or any of our Shastras, is laboratory tested theories time and again, time and again, time and again. To drive home the point, the focus of your life should be different. You need to do what all you have to do, dharma, artha, kama. But then don't forget that moksha. That's how it should be based, everything. That's why they first start with dharma. Based on dharma, seek your artha, fulfill your desires, kama, based on dharma. So then you'll go to moksha. So that's how it should be. That's a structure beautifully. Not only the structure is given to us, but also the lifestyle is designed accordingly. Dharma, your brahmacharya ashrama, where you learn the rules of dharma, where you learn, study the scriptures. Artha and kama, grahastha. Artha is grahastha. Kama, fulfill your desires based on dharma. And then moksha, your vanaprastha and sannyasa. So, your stations in life are also designed according to your purusharthas. What are the purusharthas? Aho purushika. To realize that purushika, these are the 4 purusharthas. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And that's the goal. Like a magnet needle, wherever you take it, it always points to the north. So wherever you are, whatever station in life you are, whether a householder, whether you are a renunciant, whether you are a social server, or you're a social media drowner, whatever you are, you're drowning in social media. You need that Varaha Avatara of Vishnu come and lift us out of that. So, wherever station you are, that like that needle, you should pointing always to the north. Your goal always should be, your focus should be on this. How to get out of this. Moving along. This is same thing described in Lalitasam. Mooladharaika nilaya brahma. This is the mechanics of how she rises from the Mooladhara, breaking through the Brahma Granthi, breaking through the Vishnu Granthi and all this. Granthi is knots. So how she rising from Mooladhara breaks through all these knots and reaches up to the Sahasrara. Mooladharaika nilaya brahma granthi vibedini Manipuranta Rudita, which is today's topic. Manipuranta, on Manipura Chakra, she manifests. So Devi is in Mooladhara, she in her ascent from the Mooladhara breaks through the Brahma Granthi and emerges in Manipura Chakra. Emerges in Manipura Chakra. That's verse number 7. That's where she emerges. Mooladhara is a 4-petaled lotus. When they talk about these petals, Mooladhara has 4 petals, and Swadhisthana has 6, Manipura has 2, Anahata has 12, Vishuddhi 16, and Ajna 2, and Sahasrar 1000. 1000 means infinite. It's not stupidity. It's not blind faith. There is a science behind this. Thanks to this Theosophical Society advocates and members, and some of them are great saints as well, starting from the founder, Madame Blavatsky. They were great people, were great meditators. Leadbeater and Anibes and all these people who are responsible for bringing in Jiddu Krishnamurti as well. So there, they give you a very rational explanation of what these petals are. So I'm going to postpone that to another lecture because we're already 9:15, we have another class. So let me cover as much as I can today, and then we will keep this. Shalini, remind me, and then we'll keep this for our next class. Anahata, we should. So these are the chakras. Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddhi, and Ajna. And after Ajna is the dam broke, and then you become one with the infinite. And then right in verse number 9, which we will see a couple of classes down, Mahimooladha, where Acharya discussed the tattvas associated with the different chakras. Mahimooladhare, Kamapi Manipure, Hutavaham, Sitam Swadhisthane, Hridi, Martamhakashamupari, Manopi Bhrumhadye, Shakalamapi Bhitva Kulapatam, Sahasrare Padme Saharahasi Patya Viharase. O Jagadamba, having pierced through the Prithvi element in Mooladhara, and Jala element in Manipura, and the Agni element in Swadhisthana, and the Vayu in Anahata, Akasha in Vishuddhi, and the Manas Ajna Chakra, the mind, Manorupekshikodanda. And ascending through Sushumna, you reach the 1,000-petal lotus, the Sahasrara, and sport there with your consort, Sadashiva, in solitude. Viharase, Sahasrare Padme, Saharahasi Patya, with your consort. Wow. That's 9. And like I mentioned, the four modes of worship of Sri Devi. Meditate upon the Stula form, which is what we are doing right now. And these are described in Lalita Sahasranamam. The Stula form is described in many verses, in many names. In 40 names, she is described in the Stula form. And when you go to the Sukshma, it gives fewer and fewer. She gets 3 names in the Sukshma form. And Sukshma Tara, subtler, she gets again 2 names. And then Sukshma Tama, the last one, she gets most 21 names. The number is significant. We will talk about it later. So what are those names in Stula form? I won't give you all of them because it takes time, but just a few in the Stula form. The Stula form, names in Sahasranamavali, names 12 to 51. So you starting right with this, which is also in this verse. Manorupekshikodanda, Manorupekshikodanda, He Namaha, Om Panchatanmatra Sayaka, He Namaha. So these are all what the verse they are talking about. Nijarona Prabhavora, Majjad Brahmanda Mandala, He Namaha. Sampakashoka Punnaga, Saugandika Lasatkachaye Namaha, Puruvindamanishreni, Kanat Kotira Manditaye Namaha, so on. You have about 40 names in the Stula form. In the Sukshma form, it's longer names. Sri Madhbhagava Khutai Kaswarupa Mukha Pankajaye. This is also we are talking about in a little grosser form like Sarachandra. Here it's Mukha Pankajaye Namaha. Kantadhyaha Katiparyantam Madhya Kuta Surupinye Namaha. Om Shakti Kutai Kathapanna Kathyodhabhagadharinye Namaha. So that is Sukshma form. And then the Sukshma Tara, Mola Mantratmika He Namaha, only 2. Om Mola Mantrika He Namaha. Om Mola Kotatra Kaletvara He Namaha. And then Sukshma Tama, 21. Om Kulamrtai Karashika He Namaha. Kula Shanketa Bhalin He Namaha. Om Kulangana He Namaha. Om Kulantasta He Namaha. Om Kaulin He Namaha. Om Kula Yogin He Namaha. Om Akula He Namaha. Om Samayantastaye Namaha. That Samayantastaye is what, those are the followers of the Samaya. They meditate upon the form described in verse number 7 that we talk about. Samayachara Tatparaye Namaha. Om Mooladharaika Nilayaye Namaha. Om Brahma Granthi Vibedinye Namaha. Om Manipurantaruditaye Namaha. Today's verse. Manipurantaruditaye Namaha. Vishnu Granthi Vibedinye Namaha. Following verses. Om Ajna Chakrantalastaye Namaha. Om Rudra Granthi Vibedinye Namaha. Sahasrarambujarudaye Namaha. Om Sudasarabhivarshinye Namaha. Om Tadillata Samaruchye Namaha. Om Shat Chakropari Sansitaye Namaha, who is established in all the 6 chakras. Om Mahashakti Namaha. Om Kundalinye Namaha. Om Vishatantu Taniyasye Namaha. So that's how she manifests this in the grass, the subtle, the subtlest, and the subtlest of the subtlest. Sthula, Sukshma, Ati Sukshma, and Sukshma Ati Sukshma. Good. Manipura Chakra, 2 petals. So, Kvanat Kanchi Dhama, jingling girdles string. A string, girdles, string. Dhama is string, like I said. And it's around your waist. Most of you from India would know what you're talking about. So, in Tamil, you call it Udyanam. And then in Telugu, Vaddanam. In different languages, we call it different. In Tamil, there is also a different word for it. Mekhalai. Mekhalai means something that goes around your waist, the lady's waist for decoration. Mekhalai. And then if it has the bells, it's called Mani Mekhalai. Mani Mekhalai. So there was, I think, literature, the Sangam literature, Mani Mekhalai, and then you also had Ilangodigal. I think it's Ilangodigal, yeah. So Meghalai, Mani Meghalai. Mani Meghalai is what is being talked about it here now. Kvanat Kanchidama, the tinkling bells. And then also this is being talked about in Saundarya, in Lalita Sahasranam as well. Raja Raja Archidharagni, the one who is worshipped by King of the Kings, Emperor of the Emperors, Raja Raja Archidharagni, Ramya Raji Valochanam, Ranjani Ramani Rasya, Ranat Kinkini Mekala, Kvanat Kanchidama, Ranjani Ramani Rasya, Ranat Kinkani Mekala. That's the word Mekala used. Here Acharya uses Kvanat Kanchidama. Why are the bells were placed on the waist? Because I told you, because that's where when they experience the manifestation of Kundalini as Divine Mother, they hear the sounds of these bells. Manipura Chakra is activated. That's an indication. Manipura Chakra is activated. Now Manipur, Mani is bell and Puram is city. So it's called the Bell City. That's why it's called Manipuram, Bell City, where you hear the sound of the ding, 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 ding. Many of you may have experienced that. Ding, 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 ding. So that's why he starts with his grand entry in Manipura, in the Bell City. And when we do Prana Pratishtha, and that's in Prana Pratishtha, which is where, you know, like a new deity, or if you have a murti that you just bought it and they want to do puja at your house, first you do Prana Pratishtha. And part of the Prana Pratishtha mantra is you know, it's so much knowledge, information of quantum physics in our scriptures that the macrocosm is the same as the microcosm. It means what is out there is what is in here. That's one of the things we do in the Prana Pratishtha. Among many mantras, the in between this, after we invoke the deity, invoke the Devi in that new Vigraham, these are the upacharas we do. That Om Lam Prithvyatmikaye Namaha Gandhandarayami. Lam relates to your Guru Chakra in you. In you. What are you doing? You are doing Prana Pratishtha for the new Vigraham. So, in that, when we come to that, Lam Prithvyatmikaye Namaha, Gandhandarayami, Om Ham Akashatmikaye Namaha, Vishuddhi Chakra. Akashatmikaye Namaha, Pushpai Pujayami, Om Yam Anahata Chakra. Vayivatmikaye Namaha, Dhupamagrapayami. Now, Om Ram Agniatmikaye Namaha, Deepam Darshayami. Ram is a Bija mantra for Manipura. Deho Devalaya Prokto Jivo Deva Sanatanaha. Veda Bhavanat Sohamityasau Bhavana Bitha Pavani Mata Ramana Maharshi. So that's exactly what is being done here. Ram Agniatmikaye Namaha. Deepam Darshayam is a manifest, is light. You are the light in that Manipura Chakra. So I'm showing this Deepam. Karikalabha Kumbhasthananatha. So now we are in Anahata Chakra with 12 petals. Now that she gave me 15 more minutes, I'll explain to you what this petal business is. You see, I don't have pictures here because I was not planning on doing this, but I'll give you a visual. Next week, we'll put some pictures up there. But you should be able to imagine and visualize. If you've ever been to a water storage place like dams, huge dams, or big rivers where water is stopped with a barrier and then let out through sluices. So when, let's say, talk about a dam. So in a dam, you have so many sluices. Sluices means the opening. So the shutters, they all have shutters. We used to have, when I grew up, we used to have a small piece of land. And even there, the little canals will branch off from River Vaigai and come through to irrigate different places. So where you used to have little barriers, the itty-bitty dams, you may call them. And they'll have sluices. So they'll store them and they'll open it every now and then. So we used to go hunting for water and then go to the origin where they'll ask them to open it up and all that. So the point is, so when you, from a dam, when you open up a particular sluice, when the water gets out of that exit, the water that is stored will develop what you call a whirlpool. Whirlpool. Whirlpool means people get drowned in that sometimes. It will drag you in. So the water will exit through that opening by creating a whirlpool on the surface and then getting out in the bottom. So that whirlpool is a circle. Now, same way, pay attention. Same way, you are in this ocean of energy, Divine Mother, ocean of energy, the universal ocean of energy. And your body is like a little enclosure with all the entries shut. With the 7 chakras, they're already shut. These are the 7 sluices you have. But they're all shut now. But you're still floating like a pot with the entrance shut. So when the first one is opened at the Mooladhara chakra, so imagine, so you would have about 4 circles. Like when 2 circles intersect, you will have a petal. Like when you have 2 circles intersect, then the intersection point, the common point between the 2 circles is a petal. So like that, from Mooladhara, you have 4 sluices open, which would create, when they intersect, those circles, the whirlpools of energy intersect each other, coming through Mooladhara, they'll create 4 petals. So in same way, and then you go up, so different number of sluices and different capacities, not the same capacity. Mooladhara minimum capacity. As you go up there, little bigger capacity. In Agnya, the 2 sluices will open. By the time you come to Sahasrara, there are no more sluices. The dam is completely broken. The pot is broken, and the water in the pot merges with the water in the ocean. So this little bitty pot, we know with a little bit of entry from here in the two sluices, 12, 16, 4, all these, by the time you reach Sahasrara, there are no more sluices. The entire dam is broken. You merge with the ocean of energy. And that's why, like if you see the statues of Buddhas, you will have all these petals on his head to indicate that he is merged. The dam is broken. The container is broken. And is one with the universe. So that's the secret of the petals. So now, Anahata, 12 petals. And there's a number there like 4, 6, and then 12, and then again 16, and then 2. Then by the time you come to Sahasrara, it's infinite number of petals represented by 1,000. Sahasrara means 1,000. Sahasra Shirisha Purusha means not 1,000, but infinite number. That's how it is. So Karikalaba Kumbhasthana Nata, Anahat Chakra. Nata, bent or curved. Nata means bent or curved, inclined or hanging down. And Karikalaba, Acharya gives us Kalaba, which means young elephant, not the one that is skeletal with the old elephant with a skeleton or something. There you would see just the bones. But he gives a beautiful analogy. Karikalaba Kumbhasthana Nata. It's just this impressive bosoms like that Karikalaba, forehead. And that analogy is given stability and flexibility. Even though slightly bent, doesn't break. And then she is the one who upholds, even though she has a slender waist, almost non-existent. Parikshina madhye. In the middle, she has a waist that's almost non-existent, very slender, very weak. But that waist holds this entire cosmos, a manifestation, because there we manifest in the Manipura Chakra. So that's why she's called Bhavadharini. So she lightly maintains all this. She lightly maintains this whole cosmos, the operations, and the entire Dharini. And then he uses the word Kari, even though there are other words for elephant. Here he uses Kari, because it is in the Anahat Chakra that the reality is revealed to you. You would see, and there, when the light manifests, what is gone? Darkness is gone. So, Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. Jnanatimirandasya. Jnana, the darkness of Vijnana, is removed by the collyrium or the kanmai, eyeliner of Divine Mother's grace. Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Tasmai Sri Devyai Namaha. So that's what the Anahat Chakra is. And then Parikshina Madhye, in the middle, her waist almost non-existent weight. Kshina means disappear, weakening. Parikshina Madhye, the middle, the waist is almost non-existent, slender waist. And Yam is that mantra. Yam Vayuvatmikaya Namaha. That's when we do the Prana Pratishtha. And then Parinatha Sarachandra Vadana. Parinatha means fully developed, fully illumined. So with that full development, you are associated with the previous verse, slightly bent down. So it's fully developed jnana, like, like the paddies, when they're fully ripe, they bend down a little bit. So here is a fully developed autumn moon, an Indian autumn moon. That's how her face is. Parinata Sharachandra Vadana. So why autumn moon? Because the autumnal full moon of the Sharad Rutu. So Sharachandra Vadana. Parinata Sharachandra Vadana. Face like an autumn full moon. And the Sharad Rutu is the quietest season of the year in India, with a fairly uniform temperature throughout. But all that is changing now, thanks to our carbon emissions and the ozone hole. The floods everywhere, and the heat is just breaking all kind of records, reaching hundreds, touching 100 degrees. When past 100, this year it was brutal. So, thanks to the human beings, we know how to undo what nature does. Autumnal full moon of the Sharad Rutu is the quietest season of the year in India, with a fairly uniform temperature throughout, extending from October till December, and we'll usually have clear skies with the moon shining brightly at night. Now, this analogy brings out the calmness of her face. Now, talking about the Divine Mothers and the full moon, most of us would remember, particularly if you're from South India, particularly if you're from Tamil Nadu, you should remember one saint talking about moon and Divine Mother, Abhirama Bhattar. So within the next 5 minutes, I'll give you his story for people from the north and others who may not know him. Not possible to know them because it's a Tamil tradition. So with that, we'll conclude today and we'll go to the Aho Parushika next class. So this was in the 18th century. Again, this is not grandma stories, this is history, okay? 18th century, when King Sarabhoji, that's where we used to have Maharashtra kings, thanks to some of the Maharashtra rulers in India. Even in Tanjavur, you have Sarabhoji Mahal, then you have these libraries named after them. So during King Sarabhoji's era, he used to visit this temple in Tirukadayur or Tirukadavur. Tirukadavur is known for two things. One is Markandeya, and the other is, of course, Abhirama Bhattar. It's a very famous place. But you know how the culture has become decadent? I mean, that's not the right word, but that's what it has become. That's how decadent. Now, such a place where Balambika Samhita Amritagadheshwara, Mahamurtinjayeswara Swami, Pratpara Parameshwara is there, and Abhirami is there. That place has become a business, commercial place for 60th wedding. Sad. So coming back to our story, 4 minutes left. So 18th century, Abhirama Bhattar, whose name was Subramanya Iyer, was also a movie made of this event. He would worship in silence, in samadhi, like manifestor in his Anahat Chakra, visualizer forms, manifestor in his Manipura Chakra, visualizer form, as the glowing full moon, like the face, like exactly what it described. Parinata Sarachandra Vadana. So that's how he was meditating upon her. Parinata Sarachandra Vadana, her face like a fully developed full moon meditating upon her. And he used to reach Samadhi stages. So one such day happened to be a day of Amavasya where there was no moon. So on the day of Amavasya, the king Sarabhoji, every Amavasya, he comes to the temple. So on the day also, he came to the temple. And Abhirama Bhattar, he was not known as Abhirama Bhattar, he was known as Subramanya, and he was meditating. And he behaved, that Unmata, there are saints, these great saints behave like little crazy people. Chittamboku, Sivamboku. Behave like little crazy people. So many thought he was really crazy. He was a madman. Because anytime some of these ladies come to the temple, he would run to them, "Oh, Divine Mother, you are here." So people thought he was crazy. And then he was in meditation, and King Sarabhoji was walking in, and he was still at the entrance of the temple in meditation in Samadhi. And then he asked his ministers, "Who is this person?" And the ministers, always they all try to butter up the king. So they try to say things to please him. They say, "Raja," some say he's a saint and some say he is a madman. Then Raja asked him, Sarabhoji asked him, "How can we find out?" The ministers have to be always smart. There's a word we use here. I don't want to use that. Smart A. So he wanted to be a smart A and said, oh, but there's a way we can do it. We can ask him a question. What kind of question? Ask him what tithi today. Then we'll find out if he's smarter. It's stupidity to go and test a saint. But that's what happened. But it's good. And it's all in the drama of Divine Mother. So the king, as suggested by the minister, goes to this saint in deep meditation. Pattare, Subramanya Pattar. Pattare, enna tithi. Innaki enna tithi. Pattare, what is the tithi today? Aaj ka tithi kya hai? He hardly hears it because he's in samadhi. Then he repeats the question a little louder. Pattare, what is the tithi today? And then you know how his Bhattar is full immersed, meditating upon the Manipura Chakra with Sarat Chandra Vadana, fully developed face moon. He says, full moon. And the day is Amavasya. And the king is shocked, so is everybody else. And the king repeats again, are you sure today is full moon? No answer. Pattare, இன்னைக்கு பௌர்ணமியா? He says, yes. அப்படின்னா இன்னைக்கு சந்திரன் வருமா? No answer. He repeats, பட்டரே, இன்னைக்கு சந்திரன் வருமா? Will there be a full moon? Will there moon rise today? He says in Tamil, வரண்டா போடா. Says, get lost. The moon will come. The saints don't care about saints don't care about kings. I'll take a couple of more minutes. Another, when the king came, after he renounced everything, he says, why are you sitting down on this field with nothing except your loincloth? What did you gain by all this? You are such an important person in my assemblage. You left everything and become a sannyasi. It's a humiliation to me. And what did you gain by this? and then Patinathar says very, very sharply, you are standing and I'm sitting. You are a king of this large kingdom. You are standing in front of me and I'm sitting in front of you. That's what I gained. Because if I was this previous Patinathar with a businessman, multi-million businessman like I was, as soon as you come at a 1 mile away, I would stand up and greet you and do all kind of things to butter you up because you would tax my wealth. Now, what are you going to tax me? Are you going to tax my loincloth? So I don't. So this is what I gained, freedom. So same way, these saints don't care if he's a king or who. So he just calls him, get lost, moon will come. And then I'll make it quick because time is up. So the king gets mad because he got scolded away. He says, he puts 2 soldiers by his side and says, wait till this guy wakes up. And by 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m., the moon doesn't come, just kill him, burn him. So they set up the fire and all that. And so when he wakes up, he didn't even know what happened because people tell him what happened. The priest tells him this is what you did. And he said, okay, so I didn't do that. Divine Mother did it. So they tie him up, hang him over this fire to drop him down if the moon doesn't come. So he starts singing this Abhirami Andadi. Taramar kondrayum shanbagamalayum satum tillai ஓர் அவர்தம் பாகத்துமை மைந்தனே உலகேழும் பெற்றெடுத்த சீர் அபிராமி எந்தாதி என் சிந்தையுள்ளே காரமர் மேனி கணபதியே நிற்க கட்டுரையே உதிக்கின்ற செங்கதிர் உச்சித் திலகம் உணர்வுடையோர் மதிக்கின்ற மாணிக்கம் போது மலர்கமலை துதிக்கின்ற மென்கொடி குங்குமதோயம் என்ன உதிக்கின்ற மேனி அபிராமி. And then, so like that, this is 100 songs, Andadi. The previous word, this paragraph begins with a word, with the previous one ended, Andadi. By the end of 100 song, close to that, Divine Mother manifests, takes her earring off, diamond, and throws it in the sky, and there is the full moon. History, recorded history. Sarat Chandra Vadana. Okay, about the weapons and the Aho Purushika next class. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Sri Matre Namah. Let me unmute you all so you can talk. There's not much. Mute, unmute. As you can unmute yourself.
Thank you, Swamiji.
You're very welcome.
Thank
Sandhya,
you.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Swamiji.
You're welcome, Shalini ji.
Thank you, Swamiji. Om Shri Matre Namah.
Swamiji, namaste.
Om Sri Matre
Thank you,
Namah.
Swamiji.
Sri Matre
Thank
Namah.
you, Swamiji. Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Okay, if you have no other questions, we will close. Or no other comments. Om Namah
Excellent,
Shivaya.
Swamiji.
Oh, Raji, you're there. Yes, I saw
Yeah,
you.
excellent, Swamiji.
Thank you. Our problem is time, always, as always.
Yeah.
But we will continue next class. Good, Raji. Very good. Okay, so we will conclude because we have another class in about 10 minutes or 9 minutes. Om Sri Matre Namaha.